Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being a show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the other episode this week of The Blacklist. Holy crap, another great episode. Let's just get into just everything that went down. I love the fact of the matter is Liz and Jennifer are continuing their plans. They're trying to scrounge that flash drive or whatever to get the file that Reddington deleted last episode, and also hiding Jennifer and everything. Because once again, it's like seeing Jennifer probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, but at the very least, letting them, like, if they're seen together, Reddington will get suspicious and start piecing stuff together. He'll like, wait, why are you two together? He'll keep an eye on them, so that's why, like, you need none of it. It's like, no, you need to make sure that Liz has to make sure that Jennifer stays hidden in that regard. So, but I love that. Obviously, this is about the Corsican, which is also interesting too. I'll point out he didn't get caught this episode. That's interesting. Like, whatever it is that he's a part of is big, and I guess maybe it'll trickle out over the course of the season. Maybe. I feel like that doesn't happen that often. Probably every once in a while you get introduced to a blacklister early on and then they're not dealt with immediately. Like, usually when, like, I mean, officially, like, I mean, literally the episode is titled after them. And I feel like it's, I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, because there's a lot of times like a blacklister will show up early enough, but it's not till later on that they're officially the episode title and then dealt with, typically like the next episode or whatever. But nevertheless, so that was kind of interesting. I'm very interested to see kind of how that trickles out later on, what he ends up, I mean, because he is like a well-known assassin and we still don't know who he was working for, because it all seems like there are ulterior motives anyway, because it was meant to make it seem like, oh, like the reason why the Corsican went after the UN in particular was because it was more in line with what he usually works for, but it seems like there's a bigger thing at hand here. We'll kind of have to dive into that, like I said, later on when it kind of gets revealed what he's really been up to. But the crazy thing about it is that Reddington had to get the dude Maxwell who built the bomb in the first place, and that was such a crazy scene when Liz had to tell the dude stop. It's like there's a bomb in that, and the dude had already started unlocking it and he froze, and then it clicks unlock, click, or at least like one of the locks was unhatching or something like that. So that was kind of like pretty tense moment. I also love that Liz is like telling one of the guys, it's like, no, you need to get out of here, blah blah blah, blah. The guy didn't want to listen because it's like, this isn't an FBI show and stuff like that. He gets a call from his supervisor. It's like, my supervisor got a call from someone pretty high up. Who the hell are you people? It's like, the team's got connections. So I thought, that being Reddington probably talked to somebody who talked to somebody who talked to somebody that got this done, essentially. Or not unless Cooper called someone who got this done. I mean, it literally could have gone either way. I kind of lean more towards Reddington, but it's like Cooper probably has the authority, because they work with pretty high-ranking people, like, who know about the task force and everything, which that bit of information is going to be very important soon enough. But I love that everyone's interaction, like, Red didn't want to be around. He was like, do I really have to be here? He's like, oh, God, I hate needles and stuff like that. And then he's like, okay, so I'm going to use this to pop it open. And Liz and Red are like, you're going to what? And they're like, no, we're just going to pop it open. And he's like, and he's also been drinking too, because it's the only way he can have a steady hand. It's like, okay. And then he pauses and they're like, what's wrong? And then he sneezes and Red's like, okay, I can't take this. I'm going to go somewhere. And Liz is like, you're really going to leave me here with him and the bomb? He's like, nah, you'll be fine. Come on. You can come to the UN anytime you want to. Me, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Soak up in all the, history and all that stuff. Yeah, you should be fine. And she's like, should be? Because I also love, too, when he comes into there, he's like, I was actually kind of expecting a little bit more from the UN. It's a little, disappointing. It's even a little tacky. It reminds me of that road trip we took in Denver. He's like, Memphis. He's like, right. I had the exact same feeling about Graceland. It's just kind of, and it smells a little. I'm like, I love that this is happening. And he even goes off and ends up going into the assembly and just like talking and stuff like that, enjoying it and stuff like that. And I was like, he's having so much fun. I guess as, a wanted criminal. I always say 20 plus years. I always forget it's 30. Like, that always slips me, because I don't know why the number 20 is always in my head. it's 30, not 20, but nevertheless. But, you know, being a criminal for that long, like, you never get another opportunity like that, so. I also love that wrestler is there kind of helping. It's like, Maxwell's like, oh, that shouldn't be happening. Oh, crap, he's taking more swigs of the drink. But then they luckily stop the bomb, and he celebrates with the drink. Wrestler takes the drink from him, starts drinking himself, and Liz is just like, oh my God, whew, a sigh of relief. Now, to me, what hit me the most was like Liz confronting him, because he was like, because there's a whole conversation about being who you really are. And he's like, sometimes it takes taking someone else's identity to become who you are really, your true self, you know? And I was like, oh, that's such a philosophical thing of like, being Raymond Reddington allowed him to become, I guess, maybe the best version, or the very least the truest version of himself. Because like, we don't know, maybe he wasn't always a good guy, you know, but becoming Reddington allowed him to. Or maybe becoming Reddington was just like, obviously it was all a ruse anyway. It's like, oh, I got to play the role of Reddington to keep Liz safe, so I'm gonna build this criminal empire. So it's like, that's always the thing of like, was he always a criminal, or was he on some level a good guy? But because he knows this is all for Liz, his daughter, I'm still sticking with that. The fact of the matter is, he's willing to do whatever evil he needs to. Or was he always kind of a morally gray person in the past too, that he has certain lines he won't cross, and that there's a certain, I don't know. Because I feel like once something compromises anything close to Liz, that's when he gets really pissed off. So it's like, most threats that have to be taken out will be anything that could compromise Liz, in particular his relationship with Liz, I think, more specifically. But even she was shocked. She was like, you know, you do actually a lot of good. Like, the fact of the matter is, you will never get recognition for the fact that you helped, you know, stop a bomb from going off at the UN. And Red just kind of shrugs it off and stuff like that. And she's talking to Jennifer, and it was almost like, wow, I was like, wow, like, that conversation was crazy. She's having hesitations because going forward, it's becoming more and more real. But I think because she was so caught up with everything that he's done, that she didn't think about, like, Reddington literally does good. Even if he isn't Reddington, whoever he is pretending to be Reddington, he actually does good. And I thought that was so interesting, because I was like, holy crap, like, you set forth so wholeheartedly, like, we're going to do this. We're going to find out who he is, find out the truth. But then you falter a little bit because even Jennifer's like, the fact of the matter is, I get it. He stops by. He's a little bit like family, but it's like, he's like family, kind of almost being like, I'm blood. We're actually related more so than you are with this guy. And yes, he might do this and that. Like, you have this complicated relationship, but the fact of the matter is, we don't know who he is. And that's what this is all about. Because it's like, for Liz, she was almost like, it doesn't matter who he is because he does such good as Reddington. Should it really matter? And like, for her to hesitate like that, because I think it's because no matter who he really is, there is a part of her that will always care about him, because he's been a big part of her life for the past couple, 5 years at this point. So it's like, of course, like, let's not forget they were on the run together back in season 3, and it's like, that will change a lot for people, and especially her. Like, Reddington took care of her. He looked after her. He did everything he could to get her back to where she was, to get her reinstated, to get her name cleared, you know? So, I don't know. I think all that kind of hit her. Like I said, it just became a little too real with everything. But holy crap, did that kind of shock me. It's like, oh yeah, and Reddington gets arrested by some cops. Like, I kind of already knew that, because like, I saw a bit, like, literally the thumbnail I used from for this month's watch list, like, had a picture of him in a jail cell. It's like, I knew that's what that was. I didn't know what led to that. Like, I was like, oh, that must be much, much later in the season or something. It's like, kind of feeling like, I was like, Liz was sitting beside him, because this is before the season even started, obviously. So I was like, Liz must have put him there, and this must be part of her game or something like that. Which, like, the moment it all played, I was like, did Jennifer do this behind Liz's back? Especially because Liz had that reaction, and like, oh my God, like, what's going on? I was like, so did Jennifer do it? I was like, no, because she made the whole point of like, we're in this together. So I was like, Liz is the one who did it, but like, she's so good at pretending, because she even makes Wrestler, she like the way she talks about it, she makes Wrestler feel guilty. Like, whoa, you actually think I'm the one that did it? Like, yeah. Eventually she goes, no, I know you didn't do it, but the fact of the matter is, I know you're not I know that you're happy about it because you don't have to work with Reddington anymore because now it's public. But the fact that she made such a fuss about it like that, even pointing almost to me, because she also clears herself at the same time because she was overcompensating, because this way it looks like, oh, why would I send my own father to jail and stuff like that, acting like the concerned daughter and everything like that, which is so fascinating. Because even Wrestler knows that Liz is up to something. He's like, don't tell me that everything's okay. He's like, whatever secrets you're keeping, I'm fine with that. But the fact of the matter is, don't pretend like you're okay. And she's like, thanks. And he's like, for what? She's like, for being okay, knowing that I've got my own plans but that you're not going to ask me about it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But for real, like the moment the cops started hassling him, I was like, wait, really? It's like, there's no. How did that happen? There's no, because at first I was thinking like, could it be like the Corsican or something? I was like, no, because the Corsican doesn't know about Reddington being involved in stuff like that. I was like, so who would it be? And it's like, and then immediately it was like Liz and Jennifer. But it's like, especially because like when the cops is just about to arrest him and stuff like that, I'm like, this is really happening. And then one guy was like, hey, you don't know who this is? This is Raymond Reddington. And I was like, huh. It's interesting because I literally brought that up in the premiere about like how like, oh man, his infamy, like one of the bank robbers recognized him. In this case, one of the cops recognized him. And he's at the top of the FBI's most wanted list. So. And that moment is when everything officially hit the fan. I love it because Aram calls Liz and Wrestler, and he's like, I should be happy, but I'm actually a little sad, because they were under the impression he was talking about the Corsican being arrested, but it was Reddington. Because no matter what the bad stuff that he's done, the fact of the matter is, I think for Haram, he's a friend. Like, he's come to think of Reddington as a friend, which is kind of like sweet. It's like, oh my God, it's like that you're actually kind of bummed out and stuff like that. And Cooper is talking to Panabaker about this whole situation, because it's like, yeah, at this point, we disavow, we pretend like none of this happened. But Cooper's like, the fact of the matter is, we do good. Yes, Reddington's done a lot of terrible stuff. This task force has been complicit in a lot of the terrible stuff that he's done. He's profited from a lot of stuff that we've done. But the fact of the matter is, he's also done so much good, helping us take down a lot of bad people. The fact of the matter is, literally saved the UN today because of him. But for her, it's like, there's nothing I can do. He even tries to go to the ADA about this whole situation, but she was like, no. The fact of the matter is, and it was interesting too, because Panabaker had pointed out, it's like, oh yeah, this ADA, she's running for governor and eventually maybe even the presidency. So it's like, this, if she's the ADA who prosecuted and took down Raymond Reddington, your career is set. You will be the you will be the golden child in the government, So it's like, everyone will be like praising you. So it's like, this is the biggest case of her lifetime. It's like this can make or break her career. So obviously she's going to go for it. I mean, you can also look at it as like, well, she has integrity too. You could make the argument there, because it's that mixed bag, because you're like, what Cooper stands for, you're understandable, because it's like, hey, there's good that's done in here. Literally, the government made the immunity deal with him and everything. But at the same time, it's like, you can also go with the ADA of being like, but Reddington's a bad dude. He's literally at the top of the most wanted list. So come on. But it's that thing of like, but we care about Reddington. It's always that thing when it's like, you love the bad guy. You don't want to see them necessarily lose. So it's like, yeah, it's like, I don't want to see Reddington lose. But the thing is, I love the most is, it's not like Reddington's scared. He's like, no, I'm not worried about a prosecutor. I've literally avoided him for decades. I got this. But I need you, Liz, to find out who betrayed me, because whoever did it, and it was so interesting how he explained it too. It's like, they made it such a small thing, because it's just like, oh, some middle-aged white dude with a gun, concealed weapon, enough to get some cops looking into it. Because if it was anything bigger, if it had been like a bigger splash, then it would have been something that Reddington obviously would have picked up on his radar, and they would have like avoided the situation. But it was something so small that he couldn't account for that, because it's like, you think my luck just happened around? Because I was like, really? Because even Aram was talking about the fact is like, literally got stopped by a police officer getting a pretzel. But the fact of the matter is, you can automatically tell something was up, because the cop was pushing too hard. Like, who are you? Obviously he didn't know who Red was at the time, but it was just because they had already gotten a call about the concealed weapon and everything. So that was actually surprising. I also like that the cop, Officer Baldwin, wanted to make sure, no, let me get my credit for this. And it's like, yeah, he gets his credit in the long run, but obviously the government is taking over from here. The ADA blasted everywhere that Reddington. Now, this is interesting, like, considering the fact his Red's behind bars, sure. What does this mean for everything? He's connected to a lot of criminals. Does that, a lot of people came after Red when they thought he was weak. So the fact of the matter is that he's in a position like this. I mean, some people might cut ties with him. Others people might try to come after him. I feel like they probably wouldn't even bother because it's like, hey, Red's been removed from the board. Let's swoop in and try and take over every enterprise that he has control of. That's a possibility in that type of thing because everyone's always waiting for top dog to kind of fall off the food chain so that they can rise up. So, I mean, that's, like I said, that's not like that's the first time that's ever happened in the show. So I kind of expect that, but we'll see. The fact of the matter is, it seems like Red's got a lot of contingency plans in play. Usually does. So he's not worried about a lot of this stuff. He's kind of fairly certain that he's going to get out of this, but I'm curious how. Because, like, that really shocked me. And the crazy thing too is, like, you see Liz so heartbroken about it because no matter what, she actually feels bad for betraying him doing this. It was necessary to remove him from the situation so that they can continue looking into him, because it's like, if they're worried about him popping in all the time, they'll never have the freedom and the free space to do what they need to look into the situation. But she still regrets what she did. She knows it had to be done, but she still feels bad about it. So I'm wondering, will Red continue working with the task force even behind bars? I'm assuming he would. Well, because Denbei's out, so Denbei can do a lot of stuff for him, assuming. I mean, I'm sure a lot of his calls are going to be monitored and stuff like that, but I'm sure he could still pass messages along to Liz. Even the whole thing about Liz being his daughter might end up becoming public knowledge too, and that will become a whole fiasco. Like, because the ADA plans on taking him down with or without the immunity agreement and everything. Like, everyone wants to keep it hush-hush about the immunity agreements, but Cooper told her anyway because he was hoping to sway her. But, dude, a lot of those skeletons are probably going to come out of the closet, which we also know what Red does about skeletons. He doesn't like those popping up out of nowhere, so. But he's kept a lot of his. Because the only person who knew where everything was buried. Well, there was that cop that wrestler knew that they ran into last season. Wasn't it Gabriel? What about him? What's up with that whole situation? I'm curious, will he show back up or not? There's also that therapist from last season that Liz let get away, the one that kind of goes all vigilante and stuff like that. That was kind of poking into my head. It's like, that's another storyline element that potentially we could see this season come back in some shape or form too, but we'll kind of have to wait and see. But holy crap, this is definitely going to be this is a very interesting turn of events. I'm so excited to see where things go. Like I said, because Liz was even worried. She's like, what's he going to do when he finds out I'm the one who betrayed him? We already saw what he does to people that betray him. Kate was his closest confidant, and he tried to put a bullet in her head. But part of me is like, Liz's situation is a little bit different because she is his daughter no matter what. He'd probably kill Jennifer. I kind of feel like that. It also comes down to his relationship with the real Red. If he was close to her, maybe that's why he took care of her, not just to play the role of Reddington. Maybe that's all it was, but I think it's maybe he was close to the real Red and wanted to look after his family. Potentially. Maybe. I don't know. But if anyone were to die, it'd most likely be Jennifer, but it'd probably come back to a situation where Liz would feel bad because it's like another person died because of her. Like, all the people around her died, but not her herself. So, like I said, I'm so excited to see where the next episode takes us. Once again, if you do not know or missed it, that Fridays are the permanent day for the Blacklist from now on. So, do keep that in mind. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.